Okay, hey, hi, hello, welcome back. Alexandrian Codex, American History Wiki 2 mod, progress report for May 20th? 21st? What day is today? May 21st, 2020. Today, I'm probably gonna get more done than this, but this is the headliner for today, is the Comanche Wars. The Comanche Wars, you'll probably notice right off the bat, I only have 4 events for them. Contrast with the Apache, where I had quite a few more. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong window. Let's see. The Comanche have 4 events. The Sioux have got so many events, and the Apache have like what, 7 or 8 is what I ended up writing. So it's not as robust. And the reason for that is, well, honestly, the Comanche Wars were not really highlighted with. Oh, that image uploaded wrong. I'll fix that. Were not uploaded with the same kind of pronounced specific hinging incidents that could have changed things. Like with the Sioux in particular, there's so many places where the Americans just horribly mishandled things. Horribly mishandled things in a way that gave the Sioux little choice but to go to war for their own survival. The Apache were handled quite violently as well, and the Apache, I had more events to go over. They had more protracted periods of warfare and peace, warfare and peace, warfare and peace. With the Comanche, largely, it was just warfare for a long time. It was just warfare. There were a couple of friendship treaties, but the thing, and this language will talk about it, the Quahati, one faction of the Comanche, never signed any treaties with the United States until the very, very end. They, in fact, didn't even exchange goods with Anglo or European Americans. They refused all contact with the outside world, more or less. And because of that, they were able to put off being exposed to diseases and epidemics. So their population stayed rather sizable for, the in comparison to other nations. So they were able to put up a long-standing resistance. And when we talk about this kind of resistance, we're not talking about, in the Comanche Wars, we're not talking about big battles. We're not talking about well, there were a few, like two or three big battles, but for the most part, it was just a protracted campaign of raids on either side. General Sherman, famous for Sherman's March to the Sea, was put in charge of the Comanche campaign of the United States to pacify the Comanche. And his tactics, which are staunchly different from the tactics practiced in the North, were derived from his experience in the American Civil War with his, March to the Sea, of scorched earth tactics. Basically, Sherman had 5,000 troops broken down into 10 different brigades of 500, largely cavalry, and they were tasked with not directly hunting down and confronting the Comanche, but rather tracking the Comanche, finding where their lodges were, where their winter crops were, where their herds were, and destroying those, primarily. So Sherman waged war on the means of the Comanche to wage war, or even survive outside the reservation system. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a great way to model that difference, but I was really struck when writing this with that difference. So you only have 4 events, and this should be an image of a patch, or Adobe Walls. Adobe Walls was a battle site during the Comanche campaign and the end of the Antelope Hills expedition. This should be a picture of that, but I think I typed in the name wrong. The file's there, so we'll fix that. Yeah, the Comanche had for 150 years been pretty unchallenged in the Southern Plains. Really, the Great Plains region is more or less this. Yeah, this. In the north, the Sioux Confederacy were like the prevailing force, and in the south, it was the Comanche. This region right here saw a lot of, well, this region right here saw a lot of conflict between the two, but they don't actually fight each other very much in this mod because it was itinerant warfare. It wasn't open, consistent warfare. It was just raids, stealing horses, and attacking bison and things like that. Speaking of bison, that was one of the major things about the Comanche campaign was the encouragement of American hunters to hunt down the bison. The warfare on bison, and it was essentially warfare to exterminate the bison, was by and large an effort to pacify the Comanche and other Plains tribes and force them to capitulate. That was the same reason in around the same time, 1870s is really when this starts, when the bison really start disappearing from the plains. That's why the Iron Confederacy ended up capitulating as well. The Iron Confederacy entered decline in around 1870 as well because bison up here were gone, and by this time, the Sioux were having a hell of a time, and really most of the Plains tribes were forced economically, in the end, onto reservations. Yeah, fascinating shit. The Comanche raids in Texas worsening is just with the same descriptive text everywhere, with I have something in there twice. With settlers pushing in, the Comanche push back. The Antelope Hills expedition is actually pretty interesting because it wasn't done by the United States. The Texas Rangers were reformed and sent to attack the Comanche by Texas Ranger John Salmon Rip Ford, known as Rip Ford because he would sign casualty reports. Instead of his name, he'd just write R.I.P. at the bottom, like rest in peace. Apparently, quite a bastard. He was of the school of kill them all and let God sort them out, similar to a lot of the commanders and generals up north. Yeah, very unlikable fellow. Comanche campaign, I already talked about that. Medicine Lodge Treaty was first signed in 1867 with the Kiowa and Comanche. Then certain Apache signed it, and then 1867 the third group signed it. But this happens in 1875 because it was the end of the Red River War, and the Red River War marked the last major band resisting again the Quahati Comanche, and them signing the treaty and joining reservation. So it's shorter, but keep in mind the Sioux War event chain in vanilla was 3 events long, and the Apache War was 3 events long. So I've doubled those. So they're starting out at 4 events. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll probably post a follow-up to this with whatever I get done today, but this is the end of my coding section for today. I had this planned out. Now I don't know what I'm doing, so I need to research for a while, and that could take all day. So while I have Wiki 2 open, I want to push this. I need to fix this typo and that typo. This is done. Until tomorrow, I'm going to say toodaloo. Take care. I will see you then. Bye-bye.